So Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings trying to calm the chaos by marching and singing arm in arm with the citizens of Baltimore. Watch this.
We are soldiers in the army. We have to fight, although we have to die.
Spread out.
We have to hold up the bloodstained banner. We have to hold it up until we stop.
It was very moving yesterday to see people taking to the streets, trying to take back their city in a peaceful way. And to his credit, Congressman Elijah Cummings was leading the way, standing out in front, encouraging people to be peaceful. But here's one of the big questions. Why no indication from the White House as of yet? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the issue of leadership and what the White House's role could possibly be in all of this. Brad Woodhouse joins me, former DNC communications director and the president of American Bridge. Rich Lowry is the editor of the National Review and a Fox News contributor. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you very much for being here.
Good morning.
Elijah Cummings spoke very eloquently about all of this yesterday, Brad. But where is the president? Where is the statement from the White House on any of this so far?
Well, look, we heard from the Attorney General last night, and as you know, the Attorney General briefed the president on this very issue last night. The Attorney General works for the president, and I'm sure that the president and the White House will have more to say. Unfortunately, what happens in these situations is this turns into a political football. What did the president say? When did he say it? In the past, he's been criticized for saying too much. So, look, I think the president will speak, or at least the White House will speak, but the Attorney General does represent the views of the president. She works for the president, and I thought her statement was very appropriate.
All right. So is it appropriate? Is it enough, Rich?
Well, her words are fine. Something I was stunned by is, according to press reports, the president urged the governor of Maryland that the police show restraint, all due restraint. That apparently was his leading concern yesterday when the police were running away from the rioters. And in any civil disturbance, when the police are cutting and running like that, it means it's going to be very bad news for innocent property owners and business owners. And indeed, that's what we saw all yesterday afternoon and last night. Yeah. Outside of any statement by anyone, you need the imposition of law and order on the ground, which takes police and National Guardsmen.
Yeah, I mean, clearly there has been, at times, I think it's very fair to say, difficult relationship between the police and between some of the people in West Baltimore. There are a lot of gangs in West Baltimore. There have been one report that came out in 2014 said that the police department spent $5.7 million in brutality settlement cases, 100 of them, over the course of the last 4 to 5 years. So there have been issues. But, Brad, isn't that a moment, for the president, rather than to say, that the police need to show restraint, if indeed that's true, and we know that that's what the mayor said, so we can certainly attribute that to her. But isn't this a moment to say that, any violence will be met with an absolute zero tolerance, because we need to protect the citizens of this city?
Well, look, I think that's right, and the president said that during the riots in Ferguson. But Rich is mischaracterizing what was reported last night. This was a conversation about the National Guard, and the president did, according to the governor. Now, I don't think the White House has confirmed this. Did ask for due restraint, but I don't know what you would suggest. Otherwise, that they go in there and just fire indiscriminately,
no, of course not.
Of course not. Of course not.
That's what I'm saying.
But the question is, these are the people
Brad,
that are being sent in to help, Brad. These are the people who you want to put your support behind, because the poor people who live in the city of Baltimore are under siege. Their stores are being ransacked.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And
whose
I
side
agree
do you want to be on? You want to be on the side of these people who are coming in to create peace for everyone.
I agree with the mayor, who has said that the people who are perpetrating this violence, who are exploiting this opportunity to loot, they are thugs, and they should be dealt with.
She did say that to her credit, but the first thing she said was that they needed to have some space to destroy if that was what they needed to get off their chest.
That is a gross mischaracterization of what she said. She said that, unfortunately, people hijack opportunities for people protests to destroy property.
That's not what she said, Brad. You can go back and listen. We listened to 3 minutes of it to make sure that it was in context.
As a practical matter,
that is not what she said. That is not what she said.
Martha.
That is not what she said. No, she said you need to have a balance and you need to allow people the space to destroy. She came back and said those words were twisted, and maybe she should have just said she was wrong, but nobody twisted her words, just to be very clear about that. Rich, go ahead.
I read,
Again, no
I
matter
read her
how,
comments.
no matter
I understood
how, Brad,
the context.
Just if I could just pop in here really quickly.
Please.
No matter how you characterize her remarks, the fact is there's been an excess of restraint by law officers in Baltimore who have been outnumbered, who have stood by as places were looted, and who have run in the face of rioters throwing bricks at them.
Well,
That
I mean,
is why Baltimore is out of control. So you don't need more restraint. You actually need more force to control the situation on the ground and protect innocent property owners and business owners.
All right, we couldn't hear the end of what
reported is
Brad.
that overnight 200 arrests were made. Arrests were made this morning, and I think that the situation is. I think you're right. There need to be arrests. There needs to be use of force against people perpetrating violence, and I think it's happening.
Yeah, because we're not protecting the people who are burning police cars. We have to be very clear here. We're protecting the citizens of Baltimore. So we're not worried about the people, those are the people who need to go to jail, and quickly. And you're right, there have been a number of arrests. But Rich, there's been this tone that we have to be somewhat, everyone in this country wants people to be able to protest peacefully. And it is possible to achieve that with the right amount of organization. Rich, one more thought.
Well, this isn't tolerable. And the people who say, oh, the rioters are angry, they're making excuses for them. These kids aren't angry. They're having fun. That kid we saw in the car that he apparently had stolen and was driving around the street through the fire, he was enjoying himself. He doesn't care about police policies. He's never going to go to a city council meeting. He wants to destroy things and have fun. And Rich, that has to be stopped.
Rich, I think to suggest that there's no level of frustration in the African-American community about police brutality
That's not what I said.
is ridiculous.
That's
is what you said.
No, it's not.
You said there were
the people breaking into shoe stores and liquor stores are not, quote-unquote, angry about policing. They are enjoying stealing stuff. You can be very angry about the state of this country and all sorts of things without stealing things or breaking stuff or burning down places.
There's a level of frustration that exists that you should acknowledge.
It doesn't justify any of this.
You should.
Well, they can debate this all they want, but right now the city of Baltimore is in the middle of a chaotic matter that they have not seen the likes of in almost 50 years. So what do the city leaders, what does the governor do now to dig Baltimore out of its current hole? The chaos and the rioting must not continue. We'll find out how it does in a moment when our coverage continues.
They're crying out, they're saying, look, we want to be better educated. They say we want jobs. They say we want recreation centers. And they are concerned about all the austerity, but they're saying, what